Let's go to Dr. Steve Pieczenik joining us back in the U.S. He bravely flew over there unannounced and went up to the DMZ, former top hostage negotiator and crisis manager for the State Department and combat veteran in classified operations before that. Helped found the Delta Force with General Boykin. Most of you know who he is. Very interesting guy. He's helped overthrow governments with PSYOPs, you name it. And he joins us. Here's what I wanted to cover with you, just out of the gate, sir, just a quick answer on this. You said it's all a false flag between China, the U.S., North Korea, and others, but to sell weapons, and that North Korea wants oil and food, and it's not a black box, obviously. Since you talked to us, it turns out there were secret meetings, put that up on screen, guys, Reuters, with the Pentagon, Kim Jong-un, a month ago, before all this started. And I have Rumsfeld, mainstream news articles from 15 years ago, up on Infowars.com. Who gave North Korea the nukes in the first place? U.S. government and the CIA. China's massing troops on the border with North Korea, threatening them like they never have before. Is North Korea almost out of China's control? Have they done a flip-flop? Like Stalin away from Hitler, or I guess Hitler, cheated him first with their deal in Poland. Is Kim Jong-un actually being manipulated, or will he be double-crossed, now threatening to nuke Tokyo? I mean, am I wrong, sir, in saying this is unprecedented? Dr. Steve Pieczenik joining us.
No, not Alex. First of all, let me congratulate you. I came here to San Francisco, and believe it or not, I was at Berkeley last night. And you are a hero in a left-wing organization called Berkeley University. So you have really reached out across the spectrum. Alex, I'm very proud of you. Let me get right out to the point. Number one, Kim Jong-un is not relevant. The entire issue here has to do with dynamics. It has to do with dynamics of the United States, Japan, China, Russia, and Southeast Asia. Kim Jong-un is not out of control, not at all. All he is doing is expressing the dynamic of trying to get more food, more oil, and more subsistence from the United States, Japan, and other countries, because this is a weak nation. It's a nation that's falling apart. It's what we call a failed state. For the most part, we kept that nation alive so that we wouldn't implode South Korea because it was too poor. But in reality, we're keeping it there to justify the use of our naval fleet in South China Sea, and an excuse to use a lot of our military equipment as a test ground for the Navy, the Marine, and the Air Force. The reality is that Kim Jong-un is not even relevant. He's really just following directions according to his aunt, his uncle, and the China handler from China, as well as the understanding that he has had with the CIA, the DIA, the DNI, because he's lived 13 years in Switzerland. So, all of our intelligence operatives know him very, very well. All he's done now is to really just bluster a lot of words. There is no nuclear missiles that can do anything whatsoever. The South Koreans, when I left, were mocking America. They thought we were absolutely stupid.
So was that report leaked on purpose? Because I understand they do have some atomic devices and some smaller missiles that might be able to deliver them to Seoul or Japan, but you're saying that's even baloney.
That's baloney. Basically, every country has atomic devices. Let me put it this way. Pakistan has 107 tactical nuclear weapons that we developed between the CIA, the ISI, and Mr. Khan in order to create a strategic tension force. And you've never seen Pakistan use it. Instead, we talk about Iran.
Sure, and then our media acts like it was an accident.
He has no capacity to hit anything whatsoever, but we make it, you use it as an excuse to deploy our troops into South China Sea, to deploy them into Australia. You remember the meeting between Obama and Hillary in Myanmar during the time that we were in Syria, and I said to myself, this was very unusual. So this was all pre-planned as a way of not necessarily having a false flag, but having a point of strategic tension so that the president once again could incompetently handle or not handle a situation that would put him in the history books. Remember, a president of the United States can do nothing domestically. He has already damaged our economy and Obamacare, but now internationally he has created another situation.
So it's more narcissism where all I see...
There will be no nuclear missiles in this one. It will not be effective.
So, I turn on CNN. All it is former Clinton and Obama people now with their own TV shows. This is just mad narcissism.
Well, it's beyond mad narcissism. What it is it's out of control. What it is really criminal behavior. And And really, this is where the American public, your public, the entire public, the Berkeley public has to say, cease and desist. Because what we are in fact doing is I came back here in San Francisco, I see more homeless people. I see more beggars. I see poorer infrastructure that mirrors more like North Korea than it does South Korea. In some ways, I feel when I come to San Francisco and downtown when I see all these bums who are supported and under
it's rotting. America is rotting.
The great liberals. I feel I'm more in North Korea than I am in South Korea, where there's wealth, there's control, and there's prosperity. So we've become very much like North Korea. We're mimicking the North Korean reaction, and we're mimicking a North Korean economy, which is going downhill, militarily controlled, and no financial capacity to grow from manufacturing the way South Korea can. So the irony is we're becoming more and more like North Korea and less like South Korea.
All right, let me stop you. You've said Rumsfeld's really bad news. He seems to commence...
Rumsfeld's a criminal. Rumsfeld's not just bad news. I've known Rumsfeld since he was a Secretary of Defense under Nixon. No one liked him. He was a dangerous man then. He had a very little understanding of strategic and tactical war. He was a very...
Well, look at what he did with Iraq. But let's just stop right there. Let me just bring this up to you here. And I want to ask you what's changed, because neocons were still defending Iraq just a few years ago. Now they admit it was a disaster. But let me raise this. We have the article at Infowars.com, who gave North Korea the nukes in the first place, and it links to BBC, AP, Reuters from 15 years ago and 10 years ago, when Clinton and others and the UN transferred reactors in North Korea that are perfect for making atomic, the enriched uranium for atomic bombs. Why would the West want to give that hermit empire the ability to make atomic bombs? And then here we are being told we got to have TSA do proctology exams on our wife because bin Laden might be up there. But at the same time, the globalists have given atomic weapons to these morons.
Well, it's a very good question, Alex. I was part indirectly of a meeting on that, and I was against it. The reason that was done, because Clinton again, Bill Clinton and Hillary are not very competent. Most of our leaders aren't. It was in an attempt to appease the North Korean by giving them a concessionary point where we would control some form of nuclear reactor, which was under our control, and it was in a sequestered package. So honestly, we did give them a controlled, quasi-private, public, underwritten nuclear capacity to keep them quiet. But truthfully, it was incompetence writ large. We are completely incompetent in the way we handle foreign affairs and domestic affairs. What's happening is, again, we've gone into wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and now we are basically incompetently handling
Why
Iraq.
are they putting out reports? I mean, it looks like they did it on purpose. Oh, we didn't mean to leak that. Oh, it's quasi-secret to say that they've got weapons and can deliver them.
They have no weapons to deliver it. Let me give you the following.
Why did they leak that then?
A man who's totally incompetent, ex-Air Force General, James Clapper, who I have no idea what he does, was put in there by Feinstein and a whole group after 9/11, is head of the Director of National Intelligence, which means absolutely nothing. Another confusing aspect. Then you have the head of the CIA, John Brennan, who we know is totally incompetent and created a lot of the false flag. Then we have on top of that the head of DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, Mike Flynn, a general, who really doesn't know anything. Then above that, you have the National Geospatial Agency, another intelligence organization that know nothing. Now, you put together 5 different military intelligence organizations with one civilian, put together a White House with incompetent little neophytes and children, and you get groupthink of ignorance. And then they come out with an analysis that has no relevance to the real world. And then you go to Seoul, Korea, and everybody's laughing at you. You go to Japan, everybody's laughing at you.
Exactly. So let me expand on this then, because we've seen this with Hitler going east. We see this with Nero. We see this happen where they go crazy in their own echo chambers. Now they're admittedly getting caught in lies everywhere.
Correct.
Their plans to try a domestic takeover, that's not going to work. I mean, I agree with you, because I'm not normally it's an incompetence deal, it's a tyranny deal. They think they're in control. They're not, which even makes them more dangerous.
That's correct. What's happening is the more and more you think you're in control and the greater the complexity of the system in the United States as we add more and more intelligence services, which have no idea of what they're doing, and it's costing us a fortune. When you have 800,000 contractors with top secret levels, and I see CIA operatives in the Ritz-Carlton Hotel and special forces and rangers who have no idea what their strategy is, no idea of the rules of engagement.
They're just wandering around acting powerful because they've all been programmed by the TV, designed to neutralize the public. Instead, it's neutralized them. Oh, my God. We'll be right back. It's zombie apocalypse. I had tried everything. I'd cut back the amount of food I was eating. I was lifting weights and jogging, but nothing was working. My body was literally starving for minerals and trace elements as well as key vitamins. And as soon as I had that, I immediately could eat half of what I was eating previously and be satisfied. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com. Steve, we only got a few minutes left. In closing, more and more, I mean, I've got to hear from Harvard University. Let's show this document here to TV viewers. The decline of average human IQ. It's plunging very, very quickly right now. A lot of that's chemical, but also people aren't ever challenging their brains, TV. More and more people are in like a trance. I mean, you can go out to man on the street and say, hey, we nuked China 2 weeks ago and killed 10 million people. Do you think that's a problem? And people go, no, it's not a problem. There's an actual man on the street. We have posted at Infowars.com where Mark Dice went out and they said that. I mean, either people are more awake or they're not. And what do you call this? You're a top psychiatrist, not a quack or, you know, the real deal. What is happening societally? What do you call it? Because I've been to high security events, and I've watched Secret Service, Special Forces as well. They tend to be more focused and have eye contact and seem to be not on a power trip. But you know when somebody's in a narcissistic, talking into their sleeve, feeling, you know, like when a kid thinks they're Superman in a costume and strutting around. I see that in the leaders as well. I mean, it's really sad, and it's like Nero or something. What do you call that, and where is it going, and where do you see North Korea ending up in this latest?
Total sociopathy and criminal behavior. Ever since Clinton, Bush Jr. should have been tried for criminal activity and prosecuted, and Obama should be prosecuted for criminal activity as well. And hopefully we can stop this, but this is where the American public has to decide. Are they going to continue with this kind of republic of sociopathy? Are they going to change it forcibly, or
if we don't change it, how bad will it get?
What?
How bad will it get if it keeps going down this course?
It will get very bad. We will end up to be, and we are ending up to be, a third world country with basically a republic that's dysfunctional like North Korea, but an empire that's like Rome, an imperial empire which will not function very well. Our military is totally dissociated from our civilian, and our manufacturing capacity is totally geared to military. We have failed very miserably at leadership domestically and failed miserably in international leadership. So we have really violated the precepts of our founding fathers, and we are in serious, serious trouble.
Why did you get out so quick? You said you were being followed quite a bit, and CIA...
No, I got out quickly because I'd gotten into Korea, I got into North Korea, and basically what happened is after a while it was getting to be very quickly consumed by CIA contract officers and military Rangers, Delta Force, and you could see that the place was being... South Korea was being rammed up by all kinds of irrelevant military and intelligence assets that really were not going to be relevant, and were.
It's just delusional. It does nothing, but it just. I'm going to do 5 more minutes with you to ask you.
Yeah.
But, you know, because you talked about talking to some of them and getting into North Korea. I want to hear about this.
Hi, Ted Anderson, president of Midas Resources. With over 30 years of experience in the precious metals business, I can tell you without a doubt, we are facing the most dangerous and volatile times, not just in the United States, but worldwide. Peace of mind is gold and silver. Now is the time to invest in gold. When it comes to bullion coins, our prices are competitive and the closest to melt. If it's numismatics you're looking for, we have some of the best deals out there. Visit MidasResources.com today or go to Infowars.com and click on the link to see our daily specials. Here's an example of one of our long-term specials we've been offering for more than a year. 2 silver dollars from the turn of the last century, plus 2 powerful films, The Obama Deception and The American Dream. We also add in the book Dishonest Money, all for $72 and free shipping. The most trusted name in precious metals is Midas Resources. Call 1-800-686-2237 or go to Infowars.com. I'm Ted Anderson with Midas Resources.
We are now only entering the edge of a global financial superstorm, the likes of which the planet has never seen. Here in the United States, the private Federal Reserve is giving more than $85 billion of taxpayer money a month to themselves and other offshore foreign banks. And the worst part is, we have to pay the bank's interest on the money we give them. There is now a race between the global central bank mafia cartels to see who can devalue their country's currencies the fastest. We are already seeing big increases in inflation at the grocery store and the gas line. This will eventually lead to hyperinflation. More than a dozen top globalists like George Soros have been buying record amounts of gold while at the same time bad-mouthing it to the public. Don't just listen to what they say. Watch what they do. For more than 6,000 years of recorded human history, gold has been the ultimate hedge against uncertain times and inflation. Before investing in metals, it is important to do your own research and find a reputable company. Midas Resources has the highest Better Business Bureau rating of an A+. Unfortunately, very few precious metal companies can boast that. Midas Resources has assembled one of the most educated, researched, and professional teams of brokers in the industry. The evidence is overwhelming. In uncertain times, gold and silver is safe harbor. Now is the time to invest in gold. Call 800-686-2237 and Midas Resources will mail you 10 reasons to own gold absolutely free. No shipping. It's absolutely free. And finally, Ted Anderson wants to challenge you to find any deal that comes close to his 2 silver dollars at cost with free shipping with 2 free films and a book for $72. That's more than $160 value for $72 shipping included. Click the link at Infowars.com to go to the MidasResources.com specials page. Brought to you by MidasResources.com and Ted Anderson, the trusted name in precious metals. Wow, Dr. Steve Pieczenik, former top hostage and crisis negotiator for the State Department, worked in black ops across the board with the military. You were just saying you got into North Korea. Tell us about that. Because I know we were calling your hotel right there, close to the DMZ.
I'm born in the United States, and I have another passport, which allows me to get into this country in and out. I was able to see certain aspects of the industrial complex, some of the military, and quite frankly, they're not out of control. There's nothing crazy about them. They seem to be very much in control. It's a highly controlled society, as you would expect a third world nation that was very much like a communist as a Romania or Bulgaria 30, 40 years ago. But what you hear is that they don't take themselves all that seriously. And really what's happening is that at the senior level, you're getting this kind of warmongering in order to force the United States and China and England or Japan to come to the table in order to give Korea a chance to have some food, subsistence, and money. But truthfully, North Korea is not as bad as everybody thinks. Number one, they're exporting bauxite. Number two, they're exporting minerals and other products. They're doing exceedingly better than most people would realize.
Now, you were involved with North Korea some when you were in the State Department.
Yes, I was involved with his father, Kim Jong-il, and then Kim Il-sung. Kim Jong-il was quite a smart man. He was very much like what I was doing at that time. He was an executive producer of television shows. He was very creative, very funny, but our intelligence system in the State Department and elsewhere insisted on calling him a crazy man wearing high heels, when in fact he was a very smart man running 2.2 million people in Korea in the military with antiquated equipment, antiquated Soviet military, and no military is going to cross over the DMZ line. They don't have the
You're talking about the grandfather?
fuel. They don't have the food. So it's not going to happen. What happened, in effect, is a dramatic situation which should never have happened because of our intelligence, if we had any, that should have been prevented, kept at a very low-key level, and instead we mirror-imaged it and precipitated it through the incompetence of our president, incompetence of
but they're doing it for a false flag. They don't think they're incompetent. But I mean, you're saying it could lead to something that would cause Korea to implode into both China and South Korea. The Chinese are taking it very seriously.
Yes, because the deficit in all of this, the greatest problem will not be really for South Korea, because South Korea can maintain it with the Republic of Korean Army and also the fact that they're very wealthy. What cannot take it and is not capable of handling economically is Li Jae-pong, the new technocrat. He's not a good leader of China. The Chinese cannot handle the North Koreans coming over the border in massive amounts, and they're 22 million, because the Chinese now have an economic problem, they have a food problem, they have a water problem, and they have a financial problem. They cannot handle a swath of 22 million.
All right, well, here's my final question then.
The border, as if they came over the border from Mexico into Arizona, and they cannot handle that. It's far more of a danger to China than it is to South Korea or anybody else. It has no danger whatsoever.
We've only got 1 minute left, Doc. We only got 1 minute left. How do you expect all this to end? Because it looks like it's just escalating.
We come to a negotiated settlement, and we'll do an appeasement. Once again, Kerry, who's not a very effective Secretary of State, will sit down, we'll give him some money, we'll give him some food, and once again, there'll be some kind of appeasement, and it will continue. South Korea will grow. China will fall apart. North Korea will actually, ironically, grow in many ways if they'll open up the Jiseong industrial complex, and more, 54,000 of the North Koreans will continue to work, and they will get more currency, and eventually, within 5 to 10 years, North Korea will be integrated, what's called on a soft landing with South Korea. Hopefully, we will get rid of our intelligence, our military, and a lot of our incompetent leaders and our incompetent military.
Or instead, Homeland Security will try to just conquer America, because that's what it's doing. We're the real country they're trying to conquer. Dr. Pieczenik, StevePieczenik.com. Thank you for all the time. I'll be back Sunday, 4 to 6 p.m. Central, live. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.